Okay, well, Fear the Walking Dead is it's in its 8th and final season, and the second episode, Blue Jay, came out on AMC Plus today. So now I've seen it, and I'm going to talk about it. And it comes out on AMC, the television channel, on Sunday. So if you haven't seen it yet and you really are worried about spoilers, don't watch this video because there will be spoilers. Blue Jay, the name of the title, the title of the episode, the name of the title is a reference to the character June, played by Jenna Elfman, and this is because in Padre, for some reason, all the people in Padre are named after a bird. Everyone goes by these code names exclusively. Nobody calls Dwight Dwight or Morgan Morgan. They are Red Kite and Nightingale. I think I'm getting these right. I thought it would be fitting to wear a Larry Bird jersey. Well, I made this video. But anyways, so June is the star of the show in episode 2, though we also meet Dwight and Sherry again. I'm not going to recap the whole thing, but basically June has gone off the grid. She's no longer working for Padre. Everybody got caught after they left Texas by this group Padre and taken in, and they all started working for them. And now it's been 7 years, right? So June has left, and it turns out she left because this other chick, Shrike, was doing weird experiments on people, and it was bad and unethical and horrible, and so she left. And then she started going around and taking out the collectors, the people that work for Padre, stealing children and stuff. And she would shoot them with a dart that knocks them out and then hack off their trigger fingers to, handicap them so they can't shoot guns. I don't know why she's not just killing them. It makes no sense. She encounters then one day Dwight and Sherry. She doesn't know it's Dwight and Sherry. She attacks a boat, ends up killing one of the guys. The other two are knocked out, and this little boy shows up with a gun. And then it's Dwight and Sherry in the boat. They're both working for Padre. This kid, it turns out, is their kid, but they've never told him that. And for the last 7 years, they've been working separately, not living together, not really seeing each other, and not seeing their son. Which is freaking crazy. Okay, Dwight and Sherry are not my favorite characters. In fact, I kind of despise them. And I despise them as a couple in particular. I actually don't mind Dwight. He seems like a fine person. But when the whole, going and finding Sherry after she left Negan, and, he searched across the country and he got to Texas. And when he finally found her, which is already kind of stupid and crazy, she basically rejects him. And then there's a series of mind games and weirdness between them before they decide, oh yeah, we actually love each other. Let's get back together and have a baby. Oh, we're going to start a family and live happily ever after. Except for when we get scooped up by Padre, we're going to give them our baby and then work for Padre without ever once revealing to our own child that we're his parents. This is not, let me emphasize this is not how real people behave. This is not human in the slightest. This is Fear the Walking Dead versions of people. I think the show is written by AI, by machines, by an alien species of sentient robots, because none of the characters on this show act like real people. None of the characters on this show do things that normal people would do or talk like normal people. All the dialogue is just absurd, right? It's Morgan at the end telling Madison that he's been thinking about something that he did or didn't do. Just these weird lines, these weird snippets of dialogue that sound like something that no human being would ever say. And these weird character choices, like giving up your child to this group of strangers because you think they'll be safer there, and then working. I mean, if you were... I am a father. Now, if I were in the apocalypse and I was with my children and we came across a group of strangers who were established and they're like, we'll take your kids in, we'll take you in, but you can never spend time together. You're going to live as one of our workers. They're going to be in here doing, I wouldn't trust those people with my kids. You don't trust people who are separating children from their families for whatever reason. That's the weird culty shit. What kind of abuse might go on behind closed doors? Why aren't parents allowed to be with their kids in the first place? It's very nefarious, very sus, as the kids say these days. So sus. People don't just give up like that. Some people do, I suppose, but everybody, I mean, Morgan giving up Mo after spending all this time like trying to find her and get her back, and he's just like, yeah, never mind. And then when Madison gets out with Mo, he's like, you need to go back. We're not your real parents. Fuck you, child. Taking you back. Like Mo, Ren, now. Moran. Why would she ever want to go back with Morgan and Grace? They were awful to her. She finally realizes who her parents are, and instead of like giving her a hug, like a human being might do, the robot people in Fear the Walking Dead are like, oh, forget you ever met us. Go back to Padre. Live in the weird cult with the strange man whose face we never see. What the fuck? What the fuck? This episode honestly kind of pissed me off because of this shit. It pisses me off because like it's bad. It's insultingly bad, but it's also like it's on a level where I feel like humanity itself is being, I don't know, there's an affront to humanity, to art, to storytelling. This is why I think it's written by a sentient race of alien robots, because there's just no way. There's no way that human beings would say this, would write this story, would this. It's not possible. Andrew Chambliss and Ian Goldberg are imposters. Not only do they not belong anywhere near a script or in Hollywood, making television, doing entertainment of any kind, they probably don't even come from Earth. Anyways, so Dwight and Sherry have, just pawned their baby off, and now he's grown up into a 7-year-old boy that looks like a 12-year-old. And they've never told him that they're his parents. And they're working for Padre for some reason. Apparently, nobody can go. It's just like in Texas. Oh, nuclear bombs went off, but we're not going to go anywhere else. Where else would we go? I don't know. There's, all the rest of the United States and Canada. Back to frickin' Mexico. And no, that's we'll just give up our child and then work for the bastards who basically made us give him up in the first place. They reunite with June. They go. He's got like an appendicitis and he needs surgery. So because she's a nurse, and nurses often do surgeries for appendicitis. They go to a place, this train where she used to work for Padre. She worked for this lady Shrike, who seems to be French, maybe a connection to the Daryl show. And it turns out that they were doing experiments, that maybe they were trying to find a cure. This all feels kind of like regurgitated from other storylines in The Walking Dead. So does this encounter with this guy named Adrian, who's looking for his daughter Hannah. He wants Blue Jay to help him. That feels regurgitated, especially when it turns out that his daughter is a zombie already. Like, hello, season 2 of The Walking Dead and Sophia, Carol's daughter. Lots of like regurgitated crap from other storylines in The Walking Dead. Even from some previous Fear the Walking Dead storylines. If you think about it, Padre separating everybody is just like what Virginia and the Cowboys did back in season what the fuck ever, season 5, season 6. So we're just doing that again. All these villains are so gimmicky. You've got the cowboys on their horses. Oh, we're cowboys. We're the cowboy bad guys. And then you've got the vultures, and they drive around in RVs and scoop up. And now we've got Padre and the bird people. It's like none of them feel like real. Again, like real groups of people. That's one thing about season 3 that I liked so much. Right? You had the survivalists. They weren't called the survivalists. It was just Otto and his people, and they were like a survivalist group. They were prepared for the end times, and they were, real people with complicated motivations, and they weren't like a villain group per se. Troy Otto was kind of a bad guy, but he wasn't just a bad guy. He also had some redeeming qualities, and the dad, it was Jeremiah Otto. He had some dark secrets and some skeletons in his closet, but he wasn't a bad guy. And a lot of the people in that group were decent people. And then you had the Native American tribe, which was also, not just the heroic group, had their own kind of shitty things that they did, but weren't all bad either. There was two groups of very complicated, gray, morally gray, whatever. Not morally gray in the sense that they're like anti-heroes or whatever, but just in that people are generally morally gray, especially when there's a conflict between groups. But ever since then, it's been, either gimmicky groups of villains or like people like Martha, who is a super gimmicky villain also. She thought that you were weak until you became a zombie, and then you were strong. What the hell does that even mean? They realize that I don't know why she didn't just tell them straight up, but Blue Jay, June, shows them, they find these pictures, and they reveal these horrible experiments that were going on, and we see the guy's daughter is a zombie, and he like goes and commits suicide by hugging her and getting bit, and then the bad guys, Shrike and her people, show up, and they take them all prisoner, and she's like, "You need to come work for me again," and or I guess she's French. She's like, "Sacre bleu, you must work for me again." And then June is like, "No, never." And then she's like, "Well, I will make you with this incentive of mine." And she gets the head of the Adrian guy that's now a zombie head and puts it on one of the medical machines, and then it bites the kid, Finch, the Dwight and Sherry's boy, while he's under anesthesia. And she's like, "Now, you see, you have to help me because I'm the only one who can save him." And it's like, you can't, what? You can't, no, you don't actually have a cure for this. Like, this is what you're doing experiments for, but it's not like you're going to figure it out in the next hour. How is this an incentive? You just killed this kid for no reason. And she just moments before had said that she was getting, that Padre wants to protect all the children. And then she's like, "But not this one. We're going to just straight up kill him." It really makes no sense. It's a gruesome moment, and in a different story, could have been really like shocking and terrible in a way that like propelled the narrative forward. But instead, it's shocking and gruesome and awful in what I can only say is a gratuitous manner. Not because I'm squirming over the violence of it, but because they introduce this kid and then they use him in this bizarre, stupid storyline that makes no sense. Beyond this, I don't know. I mean, I guess that's pretty much it. At the end, Madison helps Morgan escape, even though, like the previous episode, he was about to shoot her, like in cold blood. So I don't know why she thinks she needs to do that. I don't, there's so many little nonsense things, like what, it's just almost everything. Dwight and Sherry's motivation, nonsense. June's reason for cutting off fingers instead of just killing these people, nonsense. Like Padre's whole bird naming convention thing makes no sense. Why are they called Padre? Padre means father. What does that have to do with birds? They should be called like the Avian Society of Louisiana. I don't know. It's just so bad. I don't understand. How is it so bad still? Do these guys have something against AMC? Are they purposefully trying to screw AMC over for some reason? Or maybe Robert Kirkman, maybe they don't like him. Maybe they've got a grudge against The Walking Dead in general. I mean, whatever shenanigans Scott Gimple pulled, and he did pull some really major shenanigans back in the day, at least it wasn't this gimmicky and cartoonish and just, it's just so bad. Oh, and we, of course, get the walkie-talkies. There's lots of scenes of walkie-talkies. Everyone's got them. Everyone's still got them. They work everywhere perfectly. There's plenty of gas for all these speedboats. There's nobody like in a boat that's a rowboat. Is it too much to ask that in a zombie apocalypse where everything's gone to shit, you don't have readily accessible anesthesia? You can't just put together these blow dart gun thingies because the medicine's all gone. You don't have gas for your cars or your boats anymore. You don't have batteries for your walkie-talkies, and even if you did, your walkie-talkies have broken because they've been in use for so long in these conditions. There's not power to use in a boxcar train, medical center thing. None of this stuff works anymore. You ran out of bullets 7 years ago, whatever. Now you have to use rafts that you row around the swamp, and you have to make it there on foot. And you imagine if these riders didn't have walkie-talkies to crutch on so hard, and characters had to actually like find other ways of communicating, smoke signals, or like just planning out where they were going to find each other, or if instead of just randomly running into people, like there was a reason for it, and the show spent some time bringing this group of characters and this group of characters to the same point in an interesting and compelling story. As it stands, they just bump into each other, and if they need an excuse for it, it was the radio chatter, and if they don't need an excuse, it's because June has been hunting these guys, and Dwight and Sherry are these guys, so it makes sense. Just makes sense. Just don't think about it too much. I'm sort of grateful for this show, though. It's like a really good lesson in what not to do. If you want to be a good writer or a storyteller, you just watch this show and then think of all the ways it doesn't work and all the lazy, contrived, made-up bullshit that they want us to freaking just suspend our disbelief over, and do the opposite. I did get one. I always get some pushback on these, and there was one guy who said, just suspend your disbelief. Like, why can't you just do that? Like, why do you have to be so critical of everything? I mean, and setting aside the fact that I'm a critic, suspending your disbelief isn't just something you do all by yourself. The people telling the story, the people who make the TV show, the filmmakers, whatever it is, they have a responsibility to us, the viewers. We are one part of a two-part equation. Suspending disbelief comes when those things gel. Yes, I will go in, I'm watching a zombie show. I'm already suspending my disbelief. I don't believe in zombies in real life. So I have to go into this show with an understanding that this is a fiction, and I gotta suspend my disbelief. Zombies, apocalypse, yeah, cool. I'm already doing 50% of the work right there. Now, all they've got to do is tell a plausible, entertaining story where the rules that the world they've created are followed, and there's no bullshit and no tricks, no trickery, none of these shenanigans, none of these shortcuts. But once you start pulling this crap with the walkie-talkies, the random coincidences, gimmicky villains, all this stuff, then I can't meet you halfway because you're only doing 5% work. I've already come 50% to be here in the first place, and you can't even get that far for me, then you failed at your job. I've suspended my disbelief as much as I can. The rest is on the storyteller's side. You cannot just accept whatever they feed you. So, that's all I have to say about that. Thank you for watching. Let me know. I'm sure I missed something. Sometimes I drift in and out while I watch this because I'm just like, oh my God, that was so dumb. And I start thinking about why it was so dumb. And then I snap back to reality and I'm like, oh, what's happening now? What are the words coming out of Sherry's mouth? Blah, 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 Dwight. Maybe we shouldn't go back to Padre. Maybe we should do something different now. But whatever will we do, Sherry? Thanks for watching. Peace.